Hi, time for another look at my record collection. And again, not a huge collection, but quite eclectic. And I do have some gems in there. I'll tell you why this album is special to me in just a few moments here. But let me introduce you to Guy Mitchell. Guy Mitchell now was a crooner in the 1950s, along with the likes of a Sammy Davis Jr. or a Dean Martin or even a Frank Sinatra. Maybe not to that level, but he was pretty popular. Guy Mitchell had his own TV variety show, The Guy Mitchell Show. He also would have a part on an early TV country western show. Audie Murphy had a weekly TV show called Whispering Joe, and Guy Mitchell had a part on that. But it wasn't until he sang a couple of songs written by a few other people in the late 1950s, including one song called Rockabilly, that moved him into another genre of music, and that would put him on the same level as the early Buddy Holly, the early Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, Bill Haley, some of those folks, and it was huge. He sang Rockabilly, and then he came out with his biggest song called Singing the Blues, and Singing the Blues sold humongous. It was a number one song for 8 to 10 weeks in the United States, and of course, like many other artists of the era, Guy Mitchell was huge in the UK and in Australia, as well as having some stardom here in the United States. But again, his fame would certainly wane over the years, but he certainly had his impact early on in early rockabilly sound. Now, this album in particular, the album sleeve, is in pretty tough shape. It's been beat up. You can see the wear marks and some separation. Well, it's been around the world. Now, the vinyl itself is in really pretty good shape. It's the Columbia 6i label. You can see the 6 wide eyes on the red label here. It is a mono album and really pretty good, and sounds pretty good too. Even 60 years later. This album cost $2.50 when it was bought new. Now, here's why it means something more to me, and that is my father-in-law purchased this album while he was stationed with the U.S. Air Force in France. My guess is he went to the commissary, laid down his $2.50, and brought home the album. The album cover itself in pretty tough shape because it has traveled over the last 60 years to several locations around the United States and the world along with him, eventually resting in my record collection. And while it's not valuable per se money-wise as a collector's item, it's something I like to have in my collection just because of, again, what it is beyond the music, in this case, that once belonged to my late father-in-law. And it also is a piece of rock and roll history. Guy Mitchell, one of the early rockabilly stars. And that's this month's record from my collection.